Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And Scump reminiscing on his time in the past throughout Call of Duty history, especially looking back at when he could have potentially joined Complexity, the dynasty as it was at the time back in Call of Duty Ghost, and now that might have changed the paths of Call of Duty history. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from the subliners, moments like these made Paco our rookie of the year, now he could be yours too. Vote for Hydra. There's I mean, look at this absolute chaos on the screen. But yes, Esports Awards, of course, these things are still coming up. I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check it out. There's a lot of Call of Duty nominations up for grabs. Hydra is one of them as the Rookie of the Year. We've got a load of players up there for Console Player of the Year as well, organizations, all this type of good stuff. And I mean, yeah, Hydra certainly could deserve it, but I think a lot of people would look at it. Insight, for example, I think he's probably going to be, well, I already gave my vote on the matter, to be honest. Standy as well, a lot of people would look at, but certainly Hydra had a great Rookie year as well. There was just a number of other players who found themselves in very similar spots, dominating the scene. This also from Mindfreak, right, a legendary organization in Call of Duty history. They come back into the Call of Duty Challenger scene in the APAC region with Mana Chicken, oh, what a name, Osprey, JHR, and Alcazar. So, I mean, this is going to be the team for next season. But good to see Mindfreak as an organization back in business, because I think they kind of fell out of actually fielding teams for quite a while. I guess funding issues and stuff. It's difficult for a lot of these organizations, but an organization that was in Call of Duty for a very long time, been in the Pro League in the past, it'd be cool to see them get back in, because I think a lot of people were suggesting for a time that you know, if and when Call of Duty League does expand down to that region, down to Australia, Mindfreak might be a great team to partner with if they can get the funding and the backing, which of course, well, maybe it is going in that direction. It is, of course, somewhat tough to say. Wanted to mention this also from Nameless, because this was very controversial that came out. Nameless over the last couple of weeks or so has been doing his top 30 COD professionals of all time. This is the 10 to 1 list, and this was kindly put on the Reddit here by Raphael, is the full list from 30 to 1. Very controversial, I think, this one. I think, like, even the top 10 is controversial. Further down, of course, it does get very difficult indeed, like when you get down 10 to 30. But I mean, look, even the top 10 is pretty controversial. Like JCap down at 9, I think, like, personally, I would have him higher than this. I think Aix at 6 is pretty fair enough. Like, he won 2 world championships. So did JCap, though, and Aix's tenure on what he did for Call of Duty is massive. To be fair, Simp and aBeZy also at 2 world championships now as well. But I think JCap, to be honest, deserves to be higher for what he did throughout his history. Scump versus Clayster is also an interesting one. Like, I think a lot of people would have Scump up at 2. I think Scump above Clayster is probably fair enough, given that, yes, Clayster has 3 rings. One of them is online, though, but also Scump's, like, tenure, what he's done for Call of Duty, but also how consistently and for how long Scump was the best player in the game. Added on to the fact that Clayster had that kind of 1400-day streak without a victory, I think that Scump probably should be at least 3rd at the very least, I think. And, okay, it's not too bad down to, like, I guess 12, 13, but some of these names are kind of interesting, right, because you've got the entire FaZe team in there, Cellium, Simp, aBeZy, and Arcitys, but Shotzzy, for example, having won a world championship and, you know, like, been the MVP of the stage, like, surely you'd think Shotzi's done enough over the last 2 years or so, like how he's come into the scene and pretty much dominated things to get himself on the top 30 somewhere, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Nature here at 28, Bance is actually at 22, and I mean, Slacked at 20, people were kind of talking about this, but to be fair, like, Slacked has won a lot of events over a long period of time. I think that Slacked's got to be one of the more underrated players throughout Call of Duty history, really, so I don't mind him being around about here, but I just think some of the other players, like Merc, you could maybe say was higher, Rambo, like, could he be higher or lower? Of course, it depends, like, because Nameless has been around so many years, like, he sees different things in these players and what they contributed and how long they've been around. I think that when you get to the 20 to 30 era, like, it gets kind of questionable here, because Zuma at 30, I think, like, certainly Zuma should find a way to be higher than this, I would think. Like, there's no way Zuma should be down this low, I would expect, because, I mean, outside of Scump, aBeZy, and John, like, who is the best SMG duo ever apart from Zuma? Like, Zuma's got to be at least 20, I would say, especially if Huke's going to be at 23 and Bance is going to be at 22. Like, Zuma, his accomplishments and his achievements should be higher than that. Octane probably as well should be up here somewhere. And also, like, Priestahh, for example, it's tough to say who you replace on this list. Of course, it's difficult to do. It's easy to critique lists without making your own one, because it's very difficult to actually make your own one. And fair play to Nameless to giving it a go. But I think Priestahh, right, after, you know, he's been on many top teams for many a year, made a lot of grand finals at the World Championships, he maybe should be just about down here somewhere. But yeah, definitely intrigued to hear your perspective on this stuff in the comment section below. I wanted to talk about this then, right? So Scump comes out with this when you 3-piece complexity 5-5 at top 3 at COD champs. This is way back in 2014. I found a couple of funny tweets here from back in the day talking about complexity, because Scump and complexity used to have a fair bit of a rivalry back in the day. This, of course, was that 3-piece that was being discussed, the $20,000 round of Search and Destroy. When Scump comes up big with a 3-piece, knocks complexity out top 4, I'm pretty sure, the World Championship, up to continue on before I'm pretty sure they lost a Freako Impact, or maybe it was Envy. I forget exactly how the bracket went, and ended up losing the tournament, but still a legendary 3-piece most certainly. But Scump and complexity had their back and forth, and during the Ghosts era, it was actually very possible. I'm pretty sure this has been talked about before. We'll share a clip from a couple of years ago where Scump was talking about it, but there was some talk on last night on stream, at least in a stream chat, where Scump was discussing the possibility of him joining Complexity back in the day. I got offered to join coL in Ghost and declined. Rings are more important, he says. Now, I'm not sure whether this rings more important is referring to like Karma, because it was kind of unclear like who he was referring to here, or whether he's kind of talking about his own situation. But of course, if he had joined Complexity in Ghost, he probably would have won more rings, right? You could argue, than just being on OpTic and how he did it the last several years. So if anything, rings a lesser priority if you decline the opportunity to join Ghost in this situation, or calling Ghost in this situation. At the same time, by joining at OpTic, he built that organization up to be a massive thing, and therefore other players all wanted to join and play with him as a result, right? So there's always the two sides to the coin on this issue. But it certainly is kind of interesting, right? This is a tweet thread from back in 2013 when OpTic, Scump and Crimsix are kind of discussing things right here, which it's just entertaining to look back in the day and find some of these tweets up. But yeah, during this period, it was very interesting indeed, because Scump, of course, was considered to be a very good player on OpTic, and understandably so. For a brief period at the start of 2014, he joined Envy. As you can see right here, Scump Envy was his tag at the time, which still actually exists, but of course he doesn't own this account anymore. But he did change his tag to that when he joined Envy for 2 weeks and left OpTic back in January of 2014. But shortly before that, there was a possibility where he could have joined Complexity. And how would that have changed the tides of Call of Duty history? It would have been remarkable to see, because OpTic would probably be nowhere near where they are today. Would Scump have ever come back to OpTic if he had have left to go to Complexity at the time? Like, would he have continued on that era? Like, it's really tough to say what would have happened, because maybe OpTic didn't have the pull if Scump wasn't there during Ghost and the start of Advanced Warfare to actually bring Crimsix and the Dynasty guys onto that organization. Maybe they would have continued on another organization, an Evil Geniuses or the like. It's really tough to say. But this was the period in early 2014 where he joined Envy for like 2 weeks, then came back to OpTic and kind of realized his mistake in that sense. But it was kind of about December time this year where there was a real possibility that Scump could have joined Complexity, but he decided to go down a different route. You can see right here, this is during Call of Duty Ghost. This is where Clayster got dropped for Karma back in December 2013 in a massive shock, really, because they'd won like every tourney with Clayster. You can see they've won the previous 4 LAN events with Clay, and these are just online ones, the Game Battles 2K series in between. But they'd still dropped Clay for Karma, and of course, well, they'd go on to be even better, if anything, and win the World Championship right here. But at the time, Karma was actually the second pick. Aix and Crimsix wanted to bring Scump into the team, and maybe not Crimsix, but TP, I imagine, did, because Aix and TP had played with Scump a couple of years before in Black Ops 1 on the Quantic Leverage team. They wanted Scump to come back, but they got Karma in instead because Scump effectively declined and decided to go down a different route. Did he make a good decision? That, of course, is a matter of debate, because if he had joined this team instead of Karma, you'd imagine this team also would have been pretty dominant. But would that team go on to become OpTic Gaming, the dynasty that era became during Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare? I don't really know, right? Would OpTic been what they were if Scump had joined this team? It's really tough to say. What was Scump prioritizing in making this decision? There was a funny clip that came out that I'll share with you guys right now from a couple of years ago, from 2017, I believe, when they're playing World War II. The kind of dynasty guys are in the call, and I'm pretty sure Sact is in there, Crim is in there, Karma's in there, and of course Scump is kind of talking in the background about the possibility of him joining Complexity over Karma, and they have a bit of a funny back and forth as a result.
Partially, I was too busy winning tournaments.
I've won more tournaments than you, douche.
I don't know how.
Just because you've won champs 3 times, you get lucky every year. Good.
Yeah.
I'm more consistent.
Drought is streaming this game with
31,000. You L trigger more consistently. That's
Dude,
the only
Ian,
difference.
imagine if I joined coL instead of him. Holy shit, I'd have like 40. Holy. Actually, think about that. I was their first pick. You were second. Always know that.
Yeah, and who made the right choice? Not you.
Me. Because look where you ended up. OpTic Gaming. Pussy.
You know, when I leave a team, I don't join back after a day.
Oh my god, get destroyed. You're gonna bring up Envy? Is that what you're gonna go to, you child?
Seems like a pussy move right there.
You child. Then I came back and won us the X Games gold medal. And unreal.
What? Nate Shot won you the X Games gold medal.
Yeah.
Crazy. Me and Crimsix were oppers during that event, and you still barely beat us.
You got smoked.
I was playing you like I was playing CS.
Yeah, you smoked us for air.
Oh, you won Strike Zone, ring around the rosy. Wow.
You just Seth, you play for materialistic things. Wow. That's all that event was.
MP40 is the worst gun ever created.
How can you say that? You guys are the ones that say the X Games means
That's
nothing.
won a
because
free
there was
money
no money
tournament.
involved.
No money tournament.
You
I
want
play
a
for
boost?
pride.
Just to finish off with a couple of things right here. Firstly, from Lionman 2021 CDL land card at Priestahh. So very solid, to be honest, because we looked at this a couple of days ago from Octane and what he was doing on LAN. But yeah, overall, very nicely indeed for Priestahh. Well, performances really all across the board, especially given his role. It's tough to say what's going to go on with Priestahh next year because we looked at him right on that top 20 list. The Nameless had him at something like 26. We can actually look at it real quick. What was he? 27 right here. So yeah, obviously a very respectable performance. But I mean, it's difficult to say where he lands next year because so many great players on that list are finding themselves in a difficult spot. And of course, Priestahh, is he going to be the substitute for FaZe? Is that an option they want to go down? And maybe not. But maybe there's a possibility at the very least he can land a situation like that because getting on a starting team is going to be a massive challenge. Nicky D as well, classic. This was his performance on LAN. I thought there was some kind of funny discussion of Reddit discussing how well, Simp is particularly scared about Classic returning to a starting team for next year after Classic destroyed them at that stage 5 major and knocked them out of the tourney in pretty emphatic fashion. But yeah, whether Classic gets a spot next year, also you can argue it's pretty unlikely, just given the difficult time he had so far. And realistically, there's just the Washington spot and the Paris spot, whatever they decide to do, getting ready to go for next title. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you very much as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.